That's why they just put those keywords in ATS, have them do it for them, and automatically just decline them. Like, I just made a meme about this today on my social media with Will Smith, his facial expression with the entanglement stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, when you get the automatic decline email after you just do a job application, that's literally what we have.
Attention, you are now tuned in to Brown Woman Speaking, a podcast where I'll have candid conversations covering a variety of topics from self-love, entrepreneurship, mental health, relationships, and a whole bunch of clown. Shut your mouth. Let's get into the episode.
What's up, y'all? I'm Portia, and this is Brown Woman Speaking, a podcast where me and my guests have meaningful conversations that I hope will spark new insight, perspectives, attitudes, and ideas in our culture. Today's guest is pretty special. She's the owner of Revision Writing Service, which is a company that assists individuals in highlighting their current skills with the intent to capture the attention of their dream employer. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Tonykea, as of last week, Lathers. Look, I was about to say Cole again.
Hey, y'all.
Tonykea got
you made
married
sure to
last
pronounce
week.
that. You made sure to pronounce that Tony in my name, Tonykea. That's how it's pronounced too.
Look, at first, when I was writing our itinerary, I was trying my best not to write Nene. I call her Nene, but
yeah,
Tonykea is her real name. But I know her as Nene. I've known her since high school. You know, when we used to run Independence High hallways together. She's Tonykea.
yeah.
Okay? On today's podcast, she's Tonykea.
Yeah, my college friends and sorority sisters, they know me as Tiny, so they wouldn't even know who Nene is.
Yeah. So what name do you like going by more?
I definitely don't like Nene no more because it reminds me of being young. Informal Tiny, but formal Tonykea.
Okay. Y'all, I'm calling her Tonykea today. I haven't fully gotten into the tiny wave. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna try not to call her Nene today. Before we get into today's conversation, like always, I want to shout out my brown business of the week, which is KOK Wings and Things, aka Kitchen on Clinton. If you know, you know. Kitchen on Clinton is owned and operated by 4 African-American men who started this vision in their very own kitchen. I have witnessed their journey from their home kitchen to now owners of 3 locations, 2 of which are in Lafayette, and their newest location in Franklin, Louisiana. KOK's key staples are fried chicken wings and fully loaded fries. However, the restaurant offers a full service bar along with fried shrimp, fish, and so much more. You can catch literally all kind of stuff that they serve, you know? It's really delicious. Check them out at the 3 locations, online at eatkok.com or via Instagram at eatkok_. I'll have all the links and their information in the description box below. Support these Black kings on a mission. Back to today's conversation with Tonykea. Like I mentioned before, Nene is an entrepreneur. She owns her own business. But aside from that, she is an HR professional with a master's in business administration, and you said a concentration in human resource management, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In other words, my girl know what she's talking about. Okay. Everything she say on this podcast today is relevant and backed up by facts.
Yep.
So I wanted to get into today's topic with everything going on with COVID, and Nene, I used her services to revise my resume because I was getting ready to go into a summer internship. Then COVID came and just crushed my little heart. So I thought it would be, there are other people who may be going through the same instances with the job market, and we're going to shed some light on the job market from somebody in that field who is immersed in the hiring process. So tell us what you do as an HR professional.
Well, I'm an HR admin at a tech firm called Vidori in Maryland. They offer like software development and engineering support to the federal government. So like the US Census 2020, DOD, DOI, etc. And I mainly, I'm over the recruitment process, employee relations, benefits and enrollment, engagement, stuff like that.
With the recruitment process, you mean you go out and literally recruit people? Do you visit schools and things like that?
Well, yeah. So I'm not like the normal recruiter, because there's some recruiters that actually get paid by the people that they recruit by, and they have to actively do that all the time. But I do go out to like schools. Like we had a recruiting event at like Johns Hopkins University and University of Maryland, and we'll just be there at the career fairs and just tell them about our company. But aside from that, that was only like 3 times. Aside from that, I'm just really looking over the resumes and forwarding them to the hiring manager and making sure that their interviews are scheduled correctly. So that's basically what I do.
So Nene has a podcast, which I was going to mention later, but I'm going to mention it now because I'm thinking about it. In one of your episodes, I don't remember which one it was, but I remember you mentioning that there are key terms that you look for in a resume. So when people, is there a certain thing or a tip that you can give somebody to know what those key terms would be for a certain job?
Yeah, it's basically based on the job description. That's why reading it to its entirety is very important. So for an example, I'm a technical recruiter. So most of our jobs are like engineering, software development. Let's just say software development, their job requisition says one skill you need is Oracle or Java. When they submit their resumes, what the ATS system do, or what I look for, is do they have job in their resume? So they're actually looking for those exact things that they put in the job requisition. So that's basically what I mean when I say keywords.
Mm-hmm. Are you typing it in?
Yeah, sometimes either we can have the ATS system know what those keywords are, and if they don't scan that through the resume, they'll automatically decline. And if they do make it through, I go back and look at those too. And so yeah, like I'll hit Control F or whatever the function is, type Java, and if it doesn't come up, then sometimes, depending on the hiring manager, they want me to decline right away. So that's why I always tell people, look at that job description, and you have to tailor your resume specifically to that job, because sometimes it's even to where you have like 3 different resumes, because all of them are going to be different. That's why I tell people you have to be strategic in what you're applying for, so that each job requisition that you're doing are similar, so you won't have to keep messing with your resume.
Right. I thought that was so interesting. I was like going through job things like, okay, yeah. Because I didn't know that they literally go in, you guys literally go in and type in keywords like you would do if you're reading a document and you wanted to hit the find button.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking you just skimming through the little things. Oh, this one look interesting. But no.
Yeah, because like companies that have like thousands of people applying a day, they don't have time to look at each one. That's why they just put those keywords in ATS, have them do it for them, and automatically just decline them. Like I just made a meme about this today on my social media with Will Smith, his facial expression with the entanglement stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like when you get the automatic decline email after you just do a job application, that's literally what be happening.
Dang,
So I found that funny.
I was always wondering, like, okay, I know they ain't looking at my resume.
Also, not just your resume, it's with those like pre-screening questions, like when they ask, do you have 3 years of experience of blah, 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 and you put no, decline, or something like that, because we have those too.
Okay, with the experience thing, because I've heard mixed reviews. The experience is a recommendation. I mean, like a, not recommendation, but it's preferred. It's not a set in stone. So is there sometimes a set in stone and it's sometimes a preferred? And how would you know the difference between the two?
I really can't speak to like overall, but I can just speak for my company and what I've done. Based on my experience, sometimes, like for an example, we had one requisition that said like 6 years of experience. Some people don't even put that, one, because we don't have the pre-screening question that says that. So they don't get knocked out. But if we did, I don't really think we have it like that. But let's just say that we did have it as 6 years experience and the person only has 4 and they make it through to where I can see. Sometimes that's really not a big deal depending on what other skills you have. Like if you have 4 solid years of experience of what they're looking for and you stated it right on there and you sold yourself, then they're going to still want you for a phone interview. Like they're just not going to be like, oh, well, they don't have blah, blah, blah. Because there's those times where they do make those exceptions. But I know like for my other HR friends, they do have like some things to where you have to have that experience or you just not considered at all. And you can basically know, you just have to trust what it say on the requisition. If it say required 3 years, preferred 4 years, then you know you at least have to have 3. Okay. But that's not always the case because again, it's about who you know and just how bad they need you. So those circumstances can be waived.
Right. So would you suggest still applying?
Yep. Because that's what I'm gonna do. Like if I see something at a company that I really want to work at and it says 3 years of experience and right now I only really have 1, I'm still applying.
Yeah, that's what I said too, because at this point, especially with me coming out of my master's program, there are so many companies that I want to work for. They're like 2 to 3 years experience. I'm like, honey, I have not graduated yet, but I'm still going to apply.
Yeah, that's what I saw people talking about that on like LinkedIn, saying that please stop having these entry-level jobs with people and saying that you want like 3 years of experience. It's just not possible. Most of those years are spent in school anyway, so that don't make no sense. And then they offer like $15 an hour. Seriously, girl, not with a master's degree.
Then lost the good sense that God gave them. I've really started hitting the ball with looking at jobs and stuff like that, and the pay, I'm like, I can sit at home. Y'all not about to stress me out for that.
Yep, that's why it's important knowing how to negotiate your pay and stuff.
Okay, so with you being in HR, we are both African American. Do you see any discrepancies between, people who don't look like us and people who look like us getting jobs? Or is it pretty cut and dry?
So you mean like challenges? Like, do I see them get jobs or is it hard for them to?
Is it harder for them to get a job?
I would actually say yes. And I have a lot of reasons why I say that. First, I'll start with their side. So I'll start with their side and then I'll talk about the company side.
Okay.
So their side, I just feel like we don't, meaning we as in African American, we don't really spend time investing in ourselves career wise. So like resumes, I don't really feel like we take that serious. Cover letters and job applications, like I don't really think we're that strategic with that. Like when I look at some resumes, like some people don't even have resumes, which is surprising to me because like with stuff like retail jobs or jobs that we had when we was in high school, they don't require stuff like that. Like they don't require you to have a resume. So depending on where you're from, the people around you, you're just like, I don't need a resume. I can get a job without a resume. This is good for what I'm doing right now. But thinking long term, and if you don't have to worry about your finances and being financially stable, I feel like we need to really take investing in ourselves serious and getting a resume, highlighting ourselves on paper so that we can get a job that we really like, somewhere we can stay long term, somewhere we can have a decent amount of money and know the amount that we're bringing home each paycheck. I also feel like our education and experience too is what give us a disadvantage in the workforce. I see most of us, we're going to college and we're getting degrees and stuff, which that is cool. But on the other hand, it's not necessary all the time because as I got into my profession, I see that they value experience way more than education and certifications. Like you said, these jobs are asking for like 3 years of experience and we've been in school the whole time. So we had no opportunity to even gain that experience. The right experience though, because let's say I'm applying to an accounting job and I've been a teacher for 5 years, but they say you have to have 5 years of experience. That's not related at all. So you have to have like the right experience and just knowing where you want to go and what you want to do. I also feel like on our side, not networking enough. Like me being in HR, because I had my teaching background, I made sure that I was in this Black and HR group. So what that is exactly what it says, Black professionals and human resources. And I'm able to talk to them, ask questions, know what they've been through, where they work, where they live. So it's like people from all across the United States. So if I have somebody in California or if I get a job in California, I know someone and I can call them. I don't really feel like we network enough professionally to have that backup person or a person that asks, well, how can I get in the door? What can I do? And on the company side, I just feel like they don't really, one, sometimes they don't take us serious. And two, their company, they're not just, either they're doing it to only do diversity and inclusion and make their company diverse to meet quotas, or yeah, they're just not taking us serious. But
one or the other.
Yeah. But yeah, because that's what I mostly think on their side. But that's the main challenge is people, we first have to take ourselves serious and invest in ourselves for somebody else to take us serious.
I think
so. That's mainly
what was hard for me with the whole networking thing was I went into, like you did, I went into a totally different profession, which is not dominated by people who look like me. So that part in itself is hard. We have one club. So I got a net when I got into graduate school, but I was so late in the game getting into that club. And then also I see my classmates who also don't look like me get mentors and positions and internships so easy. And then I asked them how you got that. Oh, well, my uncle knew so and so. And I'm like, well, God dang, bro.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle don't know nothing. So
Wait, so what were you doing first? Like, what did you switch to?
So, I mean, it was in the same discipline, but I was in interior design in undergrad. And then I switched to architecture in graduate school.
Okay.
And if you don't know, interior and architecture, they feel like they are two enemies, two rivals. For what, I don't know. So, we didn't really communicate with one another. I started talking to the architecture students because all of a sudden I started being interested in it in undergrad. But other than that, it's like you're not in the same building and you have nothing to do with one another. So I didn't really network with them. So they went to conferences and things like that. Another thing with conferences was difficult. I always had to worry about, okay, how I'm gonna pay for this, but how I'm gonna go there. But if I go there and then I gotta pay my rent, then I gotta pay, like, we always have to think about other responsibilities and trying to be this great student and setting ourselves up for success. And I think it get a little hard. Even when I know that I need everything that you just said. I know that those are things that we absolutely need to do. And then when you get ready to do it, you like, dang, I don't got the money. And you can't call somebody and say, well, can you pay for me to go to this conference? No. My class, they go on trips and things like that. It's so many things that I had to sit out of in undergrad that may have put me in a good position. And I had to sit out of them because I had to choose between feeding myself, paying some bills, or going to this networking thing that will help me later, but it's not currently helping me right now. So I think we have like struggles, and you're right. Some jobs don't take us serious, and so sometimes you really have to. I try to tell people all the time, like, you really have to not only network with people who look like us, but you have to network with people who don't look like us. So my field is dominated by white people. So I know that my professors have connections. I know that my classmates have connections. They don't look like me. I can't always sit in the room with the people who look like me because, in all honesty, 9 times out of 10, I might be the only person who look like me at the firm that I'm going to. So I try to, some of my classmates, they don't really try to, fiddle faddle with everybody, but I try to stay, in good graces with all of my professors, because I know that I need to make an ally, and they don't always, they can't always look like me because that's not the world that we live in. So in that aspect, I'm kind of glad that I went to a PWI because I didn't have to force the interactions with people who don't look like me. That would have never happened if I went to a HBCU. I was gonna be HBCUing it up.
Yeah, and those connections, they're good too when you need like recommendations.
Exactly, because that's what I'm using for, girl. I done already told them. And
I used my professors in undergrad. When I was looking for teaching jobs, I had all of them write my recommendation letters and put them in my career portfolio.
Yeah, and the good thing about my professors are they've worked in firms, and many of them still have firms, but they teach also. So, they really, real deal have connections to our profession. They're not just teaching us the profession. So that's good. I've already told them, and with everything going on with this Black Lives Matter thing, they're like, well, we're going to try harder to help you guys get jobs and all this. Cool, that's fine. So Tonykea has, like I said, she has a company called Revision Writing Service. And as you can see, she's knowledgeable. And tell us about when and why you started Revisions and some of the services you offer.
So when was January of last year, so 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And why is because I wanted to help minorities, whether that's primarily us, African Americans, Hispanic, whatever, succeed and go further in their professional careers. So what started, well, that was the main reason, but I also just I love like professionalism and jobs, helping people find jobs, doing their resumes. Like it started with me just doing it for my family members and then friends. And then I was like, well, I can do this for a lot of people because I know this is not what they're really thinking about. But some of the services that I offer is revisions, resume revisions, cover letters, job search support. So within that includes me helping you find a job, maybe like the top 3 jobs that you're interested in, revising your LinkedIn or creating you a LinkedIn and making sure that your profile is to its full potential, and resume assessment. So looking over your resume, giving customized feedback of how you can improve it if you cannot afford my services.
Good. And she when she said your LinkedIn, she revised my LinkedIn. And one day I was on there and I'm just looking, I'm like, when I put that? When did I do this? Okay. And I had to think about it. I was like, okay, I didn't do that. But it looked good. And then I had people, I actually had somebody, this architect who I adore, she actually reached out to me after Tonykea revised my LinkedIn to get me to participate in the competition for young architects. So I might try to do it. I have to submit in September. That'll be good, great networking because she's like that she's that girl. So we'll see how
That's good. Goes. I was going to ask you, have you been using LinkedIn at all since I did that?
I have been using it, but I haven't really been, well, I had one lady, she reached out to me. I've been having just little reaching outs here and there. One lady, she reached out to me asking me, she's here in Lafayette, and she was putting on an event, and she asked me if I knew how to do some certain things. But I'm still waiting for her to get back with me because she said she wanted me to participate in that and help her get that event together. Because I listened to your episode with Jeremy, I believe.
Yeah, Jeremy.
I want to say it was Jeremy. Okay. He said that I might be mixing people up.
Mm-hmm.
With Jeremy.
Well, what was the topic?
I forgot. But I remember he was saying that I know you had 2 guys on there that I'm thinking about in my head. But what it was, he said that he saves he puts on the notification for the jobs that he want to go to. Was that Jeremy?
That might have been Omari Riches. He's PH.
Okay.
In public health grad student.
But I remember he said that he put on his like if I want to go to a job in Chicago, I put on those notifications so that I can make sure I have the skills. You know, I have a semester left, so I need to make sure I solidify those skills. So I started putting that on LinkedIn. So that's been blowing me up. I've been searching for firms on there, and some of them that I like, I've actually realized my professors have connections with that firm, so I just jot that down to the side so I can holler at them later. So I feel like I've been on there more. I've been trying to, really get on there more than I get on Instagram. I'm trying.
Yeah. That's what I liked LinkedIn. Like I started using it heavily last year when I was looking for human resource jobs, and I really like it. Like I was like, LinkedIn the new Facebook. Like you can make posts, you can put pictures.
I know.
And stuff. I just like it so much. But I'm gonna have a episode coming out about that, about LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's gonna tell all of the things that you can do on there and how you can use it. Cause like I get some of my certifications from LinkedIn. Like you can use that and they give you certifications.
See, we're gonna have to listen. Okay, while we're on her podcast, Tonykea's podcast is called Rebranded Podcast. I will have all of her links in the description below. Her business revision and the sister company podcast, Rebranded. She gives great tips on there. Amazing tips. I remember I have this somewhere on here, but you had an episode entitled "You Are Your Brand Online and Offline," and you discuss the essentials of you as a brand online and in the real world. Child, you had me over here Googling myself.
What did you find?
I didn't come up. I found the girl LaPortia with an A, who I think she was shot or something at the Walmart. So she done just clouded my shine. I'm like, they can't even find me.
No.
I Googled Portia and I Googled LaPortia, and it would not come up.
Well, that's a good thing sometimes.
Like, I mean, I was just strolling through all the pages and you just couldn't find me.
Did you go to images?
I didn't go to images.
Because I Googled myself one time, and when I go to images, it put like an old MySpace pictures.
Not MySpace. No, they did wrong. I'm going to have to go on there now. Because I didn't even go to the images because I saw so many articles about LaPortia. I think her last name is Washington too. Legit. I'm like, they never gonna find me. I mean, unless they literally go and type my name in Instagram. Is my name LaPortia on Instagram? I don't even know. Because I go by Portia so much, people don't even know my name is LaPortia.
What did your LinkedIn pull up?
No. Like, she literally overcrowded the entire Google. Everybody was talking about LaPortia and they got shot at the Walmart.
Well, again, that's not a bad thing, technically.
So I've heard mixed reviews about companies searching their employees, and if you don't have a social media, they get, a little suspect. Is that true? Would you say that's true? It's good to have some form of social media that they can go to?
Well, if anything, the social media platform that you need to have is LinkedIn, if anything, because that's the only thing you really want them to see.
LinkedIn sponsor my girl.
Oh, right. They should. But yeah, LinkedIn. But I ain't never really heard that really. Like at my company, we don't really look for social media. Like if we see that they put their LinkedIn on their resume, we do go look. But other than that, we're not really searching for them. But it all depends on the company or what you're doing. This is probably off topic, but I know like some professional teams like to look at your social media platforms and what you're doing and how you're branding yourself and how you carry yourself. But as far as jobs, I've known people like in my group say that their company look up them, but with us, we don't really do that. But if anything, yeah, having a LinkedIn, I would say is top priority. And then if you do have any other ones that you pull up on, just got to make sure it's something that you want them to see. If you're embarrassed by it, you probably shouldn't have it up there. Like if it's something only that you want your friends to see, if your family can't see or anything, or your boss, then you probably don't need it.
Google yourself and be aware of what you put on social media. I be cursing. I'm trying to stop, but whew, sometimes the folks just really get on my nerve. But I'm really working on
Was
my
your page private?
No, it's not private.
Well,
But
then you might want to watch that
I
then.
know if I'm cursing, if I curse 9 times out of 10, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, it's on my story, and I don't let it stay on there for the whole 24 hours.
Mhm.
Other than that, I'm not really cursing. On my podcast,
But think about if
I
somebody,
know, I
yeah,
know,
just look at that right when you post it.
I know. Look, I be like, I'm trying. I really am. Like I know for sure on my podcast, um, when my guests come on, and I know they be cursing up a storm, I'm like, okay, y'all, we don't curse on here like that. You know, you can say soft curse words. Don't say
Mhm.
any hard curse words. You know.
I like that term, soft curse words.
Yeah, the soft ones, the ones that you don't look like, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cause then my grandma watch and she always saying, oh, they was cursing on everything. But she watched all kind of stuff. But we ain't gonna get on it. I'm gonna have on the podcast because we're gonna talk about it later. With everything going on with COVID, have you seen a shift in the job market with you doing people's resumes? Are they still getting jobs at the same rate? Has there been a decline?
Well, the obvious, we know that there's been multiple layoffs and furloughs. To answer your question, decline in resumes, I don't really feel like people really been wanting them. So yeah, there has been a decline in those. But I still see like a lot of jobs still hiring, like the essential ones and retail and everything. They're still hiring. My profession in HR, I see a lot of jobs like that hiring, and tech, of course. But I definitely think that this pandemic has taught us to realize that you are replaceable, your job is replaceable, which is why I always try to tell people you have to make sure that you're showing your company how you contribute and bring value to the organization with your role. Because, like, what happened this year, your job is gone. Like, I've seen so many people where they was like, I've been with this employer for 15 years and I got laid off for the first time, which is crazy to me. But yeah, it's been a decline in me doing resumes, but I still feel like people should still be applying because there's still some jobs that's hiring. I sent out my newsletter yesterday and I was saying that a little update in the market. The remote working is going to become probably long term. With myself, I'm still working from home. And I don't even know if we'll probably go back this year, but there's a lot more of the jobs that's still remote working. So I was encouraging people to just do that, like especially if they got kids at home with the distance learning and stuff, just apply for something remote. You can still make your money. You don't have to depend on no other source of income. And I mean, yeah, some of the companies either even give you the equipment that you need, the laptop. They'll pay for whatever you need to set up your home office. That's the kind of company I'm trying to be for, you know?
Right, because my friend, she just started a new job and she tried to set up her stuff on her desktop, and then she talked to me the next day. She was like, oh, well, they said they're gonna give me the computer with the stuff already on it. I said, okay. See, I need something like that. If you want me to work from home, give me the tools.
Yep,
Give
that's
me
what
all
I'm
the
talking
tools.
about. Like, it's so much stuff that's like companies offer you. You have to ask for it, ask about it. Like, what was it? Dang, it was right at the tip of my tongue. Um, for an example, if they don't pay for like your work from home stuff, you can ask for, like, when you're accepting the offer or whatever, you can be like, well, do y'all offer sign-on bonuses? Like, If
Right.
you can't help me get this, are you gonna give me a lump sum payment up front so that I can cover this fee for whatever I need or something like that? Or professional development, tuition and reimbursement, stuff like that. People don't think to ask about. Um,
Can you get tuition reimbursement after you've graduated? Or that's something, oh, you can?
um, let's see. No. Well,
You have to
no.
go
Mm-mm.
into the program while you're at that job.
You have to be actively working there and taking the course.
Okay.
Yeah, but professional development, like if I wanted to get like a certification in human resources, my company offer that. So while I'm working there, I can apply and take the course or class, and if I pass, they'll give me my money back.
That's good.
And I see that's a win-win, you know.
Do they normally have that in the job description, or that's something that you need to have on your mind to ask at the interview when they say, "Do you have any questions?" That's
No, they
something you
don't
ask.
have that on the job description, but like when you're interviewing, if they don't mention it, you need to ask what benefits do you offer, and they'll usually say it then, or you can ask. But I know now. See, I didn't know that back then, because if I would have known what I know now, I wouldn't have went to grade school paying out my own money. I would have let my company pay for it.
Me. See, the bad thing about my profession is, I mean, I guess you can go in as I'm going into an architecture firm. I could have went to that same firm with an interior design bachelor's degree because they have interior, on staff. But I didn't know the right way to go.
Right.
I'm too busy. Now I knew for a fact I didn't want to pay for grad school, so I was going into the Air Force. If I would have known that I could have just went to work and they could have paid for me to go to school.
See, why don't nobody tell us this?
I know.
Why don't nobody tell us?
We think there's one route, and I think, we are both first generation. Your mama, right? Okay, we are both first generation. So who we asking? And then when you in school, they don't really give you the 411 on the job market. I feel like if they really came in with, these freshman courses that we take, if you really sit down and tell people this is what you need to get this job, that way I know that I need to get some experience. The school helps you get experience. The whole schooling might need to be reworked or something.
Yeah, I
Something
actually
else need
took
to
a
be put in
career
place
class.
because you had to take a career class?
Well, it was one of the electives that I picked. It was called Career 101, and that really I think that might have been, well, I always knew I wanted to do like business or whatever, but I think that class really made me realize that I wanted to do human resources. But they really talked about all that stuff. I feel like they should make that something that's mandatory.
Right.
Yeah, that type of class.
Something similar to that. We did proposals, and that was the first time I ever opened up a resume and actually started looking at my resume. We did mock cover letters, stuff like that. But it was an elective. I don't know too many people who took it. But that's when I realized, when I was in that class, that okay, I think if I really start practicing this speaking thing, I can get good at this. But before that, it wasn't. And also we do proposals to our clients in my profession. So I know that I can work in that position in a firm where I'm on the team, the proposal team. So there are certain courses that they need to be, not an elective, but something you have to do for your major. And it probably would be good if the career courses were geared toward architecture, toward HR, so this is what is important skills to have for your profession, but we don't do that.
Yep.
And then we try to sit up here and figure out the right route to go. Like I just said, I was gonna try to go into the Air Force so that they can pay for my school, and that fell through. So I thought that was my last little option. Whole time I could have found somebody to pay for it.
Yep. Yeah, because a lot of my colleagues in my master's program, they was already working in the field and their jobs was paying for it. I was like, dang.
Well, it must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know something that I want to ask for. I don't know how many companies do it, but my top firms that I want to go to, are my top cities that I want to move to, are nowhere near Louisiana. So I'm trying to get a
So
relocation
they,
bonus.
they do that.
So,
Mhm.
you know, because also they ain't that cheap to move there. So,
Yeah.
there are, I've learned that when they ask you, do you have any questions, we need to stop saying no. We need to have some questions.
Yes. I have my questions written down before my interview. Like, don't ever say you don't have no question. Always have a question, whether it's about the role, what they offering, what they expect from you. Are you going to get a raise in 3 months? Like, ask those questions.
Ooh, you
But
gonna get a raise in 3 months. I need to write that down.
but yes, they do. Some jobs do offer to pay for your relocation. Because my aunt, she's nursing.
Mm-hmm.
She has her master's in nursing and getting her PhD, and she works and lives in Atlanta. And they paid for her to come to the interview. They paid for her flight, paid for her stay, and they paid for her to relocate. And I was like, I need that type of job that's gonna do that for me. Cause when I moved to Atlanta when I was teaching, they didn't pay for none of that. But they did wait on me to get settled. Even I had them waiting for like 2 months, but they needed me. So
This girl said she made these people wait for 2 months. Okay, that being that you work a 9 to 5, a real deal 9 to 5, and you own a business, and you're doing a podcast, do you find it difficult, or do you feel like that's the route that people should take? Have your ducks, or yourself in different corners.
I don't really find it that difficult. Me personally, I really feel like it's all about scheduling and organization. So I have my 9 to 5. Okay, I have resume stuff and I have the podcast stuff. How can I make it all work? Um, whether that's getting up earlier, staying up a little bit later, it has to be done. So I'm all about scheduling, how I can fit it into. I know that on weekends, I'm not doing nothing with none of the businesses. I'm strictly enjoying myself on Saturday and Sunday. So on Monday and Friday, I got to make it work. So what I do, if I have like downtime at work or something, then I'm thinking about what content I want to talk about or what I can do. I wake up pretty early, and if I need to record a podcast, I'm doing it then. Or if I have guests, then I'm making sure that I'm doing it after I get off and after they get off or whatever. But I don't really think it's difficult in that aspect. The only thing that's pretty difficult about it is knowing when to rest, not overworking yourself and stretching yourself out thin, and having that balance, because you don't want to be all work, 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 and not having your social time with like relationships and friends and stuff and your me time. But that's the only thing I would say. Yeah, you just gotta keep working and not giving up when you don't see results. Because I feel like a lot of us do that.
Yes.
So that's what I think. What do you think? Well, I know you're in school, so it's different for you, but you're in school and you're doing that. What do you think about it?
So I was just about to say, with my schooling, they are pretty all over the place. So it's like I try my best to schedule out my week, because if I don't, it's just not gonna work out for me.
Mm-hmm.
I try to schedule out my week, but me being in school, my professors pop out stuff at you like it's nothing. Like I'm like, okay, I scheduled out my week and I don't have time for that. But
Mm-hmm.
then I have to make time. So you saying rest, um, I'm I'm trying.
Yes, you can make it work
Yeah,
because
I do make sure I have spread myself thin for so long that it started to mess with me mentally. So, I started to be like, okay, I'm going to get as much as I can done and then I'm going to sleep. Because
Mhm.
if I stay up till 5 in the morning today, then everything that I had planned for tomorrow is going to get pushed back, and that's going to start a domino effect. And then
Mhm.
also, I'm one of those, if I have tasks A, B, C, D, E to do today, I absolutely have to finish tasks A, B, C, D, and E. So, me balancing between I need to go to sleep and I need to finish is kind of my problem. Also,
Mhm.
with me starting your your job, your business, and your podcast are all in the same field, so you're constantly immersed in the same, atmosphere.
Mhm.
Me, my podcast is very random topics, and my business is more geared toward my schooling. So
Mhm.
I kind of have to turn one light switch off and turn the other one on. And then also I need to make sure, because when you're in school, they try to spread you thin already.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure I'm not giving too much focus to one thing. Like
Mhm.
yesterday, I was like, okay, I need to make sure I'm not giving too much to this podcast right now while still giving enough, because I need to really focus in and hone in on where I want my business to go. Like I talk about this podcast more than I talk about my business. So when
Mhm.
you're a dualpreneur, you have to literally find balance,
Yeah.
because where your focus goes, success will flow. And I want to have even focus all around. And my other problem is I try to be like Wonder Woman and a perfectionist, and I just feel like I want to get to level 110, and sometimes you can't sleep when you're trying to go to level 110. So I'm really trying to find my balance
Mhm.
and sleep.
Well, I know a lot of people like that. Like, they'll stay up all night trying to get it done and stuff. Me, I've always, I always said by 8 o'clock I am done with
Girl,
it, with
this girl
with
is a
whatever.
mama, y'all.
No, I mean like done business stuff, so I can watch
Okay.
my shows and stuff, take a bath, go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep. Like I'm done with business stuff by a certain time. And if for whatever I ain't do that day, then I'm just gotta do it for the next day. It's all about scheduling. You gotta put a limit on yourself and be
That's
like, Portia, if you ain't do this today, just do it tomorrow. Forget it.
Yeah. I have started doing my top 3 every day. You really do have to schedule. So I've been trying to be more strict on myself. At first, the whole me scheduling out, okay, from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Wednesday, I'm gonna do this. That don't work for me. So what I started doing recently, now that I have, these things to focus on, is allocating a certain day. So on Tuesdays, I'm filming my podcast and also editing video from last week, so that I'm giving Tuesday to the podcast. After that, don't ask me about the podcast.
Yep.
I'll give maybe 2 hours to the podcast on Wednesday, because I have to focus on other things. I can't be doing this. When I first started, I was doing podcasts every day. I'm like, I don't have time to do podcasts every day. So I started to realize I need to just say, okay, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'll do Brown Woman Speaking from noon till 4 o'clock. And everything that I need to get done, I need to get it done between noon and 5 o'clock. And I don't need to touch it again. Don't be in your bed trying to touch it and all that kind of stuff, because you're going to stress yourself out. So I've started to do that with my podcast, with the Washington Collaboration. Now, my school, I try my best to not work on, do nothing on Saturdays. It just hurts my heart to not do nothing. But it has helped me out to just say, okay, to be strict on myself with when I'm doing this and that. And then I'll I'll have a solid week of, if I know I go to class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm saying I go to class at 8. So from 8 to 1 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing schoolwork. If class is over at 10, I'm doing that work from 8 to 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to touch it again. So whatever they say we need to do, I need to do that right then and there. Because these people will pop out something on you with the quickness. All right, guys. So I wanted to try something new this week. So Tonykea and I are going to play a little game called This or That, and it's going to be the career edition, where I'll ask her a set of questions and she'll choose between one of two answers. So you ready?
Yep.
All right. So question number 1, work from home or work from the office?
Dang. Well, that's kind of hard.
Why is it hard?
Because I like both.
Okay, why
I
do you
just
like
go
both?
with work from home, but I'll say work from home just to pick one. But I like both because working from home, of course, you don't got to dress up. You can eat when you want to. You can watch TV and work, do your job. Yeah, be comfortable. But working in the office, me personally, I like working in the office because I have access to the printer and everything that I need, and I just like being in a different environment sometimes. Especially with the pandemic, I feel like if we didn't have the pandemic, then working from home wouldn't be a problem. Like if I did like in office 3 days a week and then working from home 2 days, then that would be cool. But since I've been here for 5 months, I want to go to the office.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. I think hybrid, now that we've gone through this, I think hybrid is the way to go. Because at this point, I've gotten tired of seeing my house.
Yep.
So even with school, they've given us the option to, we're mostly remote. And they've given us the option to meet with our professor if we need to. So I will be meeting with him.
Yep.
I got to get up out of here. I tried to call myself setting up an office, going work outside at the park one day. Girl, computer went dead. And none of the little electrical poles would work. I'm like, okay, see, I can't do this.
Sometimes I be on my balcony working from home, and they be so disrespectful because, like, if I'm on like a call, like the birds just chirping and making noise and stuff, and people like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm outside."
Wait, this girl said they be disrespectful. I thought she was about to say they'll do construction work. She said the birds be chirping.
They do. They just be loud.
No, them birds said you came out where they say.
Yep.
That's too funny. Okay, question number 2. 9 to 5 or being an entrepreneur?
Honestly, at that point in my life, I'm going to say 9 to 5 because I know that I'm getting a paycheck. Entrepreneurship is so up and down. You just never know.
True. It's like, okay, it's going to come when it comes. Yeah, especially with me getting my business off the ground. I offer graphic services, which, you know, I get steady clients from, but my interior design services and things like that is something that I have to build my portfolio for, so that people trust me with that amount of money that it requires to do those jobs. So on that part, I ain't made nothing yet.
Yep.
So when you looking at that, you like, dang, you know, do I want to do this for real? But I do. So yeah, that 9 to 5 do get you a job, you know. And then people down 9 to 5s, but I'm like, you don't know, when you're an entrepreneur, you working 6:30 to 12. I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, you literally thinking about it all day. I'm trying to go to sleep, I'm thinking about my business,
Yep.
because you're so focused on, I cannot fail. When you go to your 9 to 5, I'm thinking about it from 9 to 5. And
Yep.
when I come home, I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that just with me thinking about it from 9 to 5, I'm still going to get the same paycheck.
Yep. Right.
With my business, I can think about it from 9 to 7 and get nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
The stress. Okay, I already know what you're gonna say. This answer: LinkedIn or Instagram.
Ooh, that depends on the day. Nah. I like LinkedIn the best.
So, do you actually post your thoughts on LinkedIn, like people do on Twitter and stuff like that?
No, I really just post like motivational type quotes.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing that I do on Instagram. I just post it on there, but I'm not like resharing posts. I actually like write out the post and post them. And I don't really post pictures either, because you can post pictures on there too.
Yeah, I've reshared a couple posts because I'm like, dang, that was something good.
Well, let me ask you a question. How did you come up with your podcast name, which I love?
The Brown Woman Speaking. So, how did I? I knew that I wanted it to be something. I knew I wanted my podcast to be geared toward minorities. So I'm like, I don't want to say black.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, brown. So then I was like, okay, I started exploring all kind of brown something. Brown people talking, brown woman, brown this. So
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that I wanted my podcast to, and you know that this is for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really how the name came to be. Like, literally, I am a brown woman and I am speaking. And like I just said, the speaking part was just me saying that I'm finally going to be, giving whatever I feel that needs to be talked about to the world. So that's where it came.
You feel like your podcast name will have people thinking that it's only topics about women, like men, if they see something like brown woman speaking? Can I listen to that? Is that pertaining to me?
I have a slight fear of that, but on the other hand, I'm like, it is what it is. You really have to just watch to see, because as you can see, it has not all been geared toward women. So I purposely started with men early in the process, so that this is not all about, I know they seen brown women speaking and they're probably like, oh, she about to be bashing us, and
Yep.
I don't even want to hear what she got to say. Well, thank you, Tonykea, for joining me today for today's conversation. It was nice catching up. Y'all, me and Nene have been texting, Instagramming, all kind of stuff for the longest, but this is our first time like actually talking to each other.
In years.
Yes. Like I
Probably
said,
since 2013.
I'm telling you.
Dang, that's a time.
That's crazy. First of all, we getting old.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, look like it though.
Right. Period. we have grown so much. Like, I'm really proud of us. We have grown, and we will only grow more and more from here. Okay, period. But before you leave, don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your post notification bell if you're watching via YouTube. Share this episode with a friend or family member. My hope is that we were able to give you some insight on making your next career move. Also, like we mentioned during this entire podcast, check out Tonekea's podcast, Rebranded, and revision writing services, so that you can get you a job. Okay, and I will have all those linked in the description box below. She gives amazing tips like she gave during this whole podcast. And it's very important that you seek knowledge for anywhere that you want to go. Okay, all those links will be down below. That's all for this week. Tune in next week. You don't want to miss the next conversation. Peace.
Bye. It was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too, girl.